Everybody, Quantum here with an emergency update video. As you can probably tell from the title and or thumbnail of this video, if you haven't heard the news already, Bucky is receiving an errata update. For those of you that don't know, that basically means the card is going to change in terms of its text and its costs and strength and whatever they decide to change of it. But basically, the way the card is right now, which you can see here on screen, it is a 2-cost inkable card. Bucky, Squirrel Squeak Tutor, a 1 strength, 1 willpower body with ward, and has a squeak ability. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Quest for 1 is an uncommon. So what is the errata going to do to the card? Well, let's go ahead and read this. This just came in. This news just came in on July 10th, the Wednesday, at around 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can already see that they've increased the cost to 3. But they say, hello Disney TCG players, we have an announcement regarding a card that will be receiving errata in all formats, starting with Shimmering Skies hobby release on August 4th. August 9th, 2024. So what this basically means is if you've already built this deck, like the Bucky Emerald Steel discard deck or any other Bucky variation, you don't have to worry about this errata killing your deck and killing your chances of store set championships in the month of July. This is not going to be taking effect until August the 9th, when the next set comes out. So they want to say, errata is not something we take lightly or do want to do too often, but we want to give you some context for our plans. This is very important. I talked about this in my Market Watch video that I just posted the other day, and I've talked about this many times in many of my videos on the channel. Errata and bans moving forward will be planned to be effective at the hobby launch of the next set. So this, to me, signals that they are acknowledging and understanding that they do need to start introducing a forbidden and or limited list, similar to what Yu-Gi-Oh has, Magic has, Pokemon has, etc. Right? They need to start going in at the start of each set and addressing cards that could become exploitable, problem cards, or cards that just break the meta, right? Bucky, you could argue, is, well, we know it's a very unfun deck to play against, and that's what they go on to say here. So yeah, unless a change is immediately deemed necessary, then they'll probably do like an immediate ban or something. But you can expect moving forward that forbidden and limited lists, erratas, will be happening at the start of the next set. So as you can see here, we're getting this one on August 9th, which is fair because, again, people already built this deck. This is unexpected. This kind of came out of nowhere. So they're giving you enough time to say, okay, I'll play this deck for this format, and then I'll have to change decks most likely because Bucky's going to become unplayable. You're going to see in just a second. But they go on to say, we want to preserve a fun environment for the game, address cards that may cause negative experiences for players at all levels. I'm not going to go into this too much, but you got to remember that Lorcana is not always played by the most hyper-competitive players. We know that the DLCs and set championships and stuff are, players who really want to push the competitive limits of the game, but not everybody is like that. And if you're just a more casual player showing up to League, having fun, if you go up against a Bucky discard deck, you're not having fun, right? You're not going to be able to play the game, and it's like, why am I playing a game that I can't even play? You're just discarding my hand, I can't do anything, right? So people who aren't always pushing the envelope, following meta trends, saying like, oh yeah, I need to tech in these cards into my deck or shift my decks, like philosophy or game plan completely in order to deal with certain meta threats, right? Like, I know we cover that a lot on this channel, but not everybody's like that, and not everybody has the time to follow up with that, to get the cards, to make the adaptations. The meta is a very fast-moving, like, living machine almost, right? I don't know if that's the right term, but it's a living organism, right? It's always evolving, and so people who go up against these oppressive strategies just aren't having fun. So there's a lot to say on that, but I'm not going to go into it too much. But they're going to look to make updated versions of this card available. So they're going to print copies of the ERRATA'D card, and it will be corrected in any future printing. So if there's any reprint sets similar to what Magic does with like 10th edition, etc. It's been a long time since I played Magic, but how they reprint cards, how Yu-Gi-Oh reprints cards, erratas will follow in the updated versions of the card. So we take a look at Bucky now, and I have the original copy up here on screen. You can see that the cost is going from 2 to 3. It's still inkable. It's still a 1 strength, 1 willpower character. Still has the same name, Bucky Squirrel Squeak Tutor. It loses ward. Honestly, that's all they needed to do was just strip away the ward from it, and the card would have been manageable. But it still would have been very oppressive if your opponents were more casual and they didn't have the tech to deal with Bucky directly, because now it can be hit by anything, right? It can be hit by Let the Storm Rage On, by Madame Medusa, by Brawl, like anything hits it now, right? Anything that targets can hit it. So yeah, they lose ward, or Bucky loses ward. It becomes a 3-cost character, which offsets the ability for you to play this on 2 and then play a Diablo or an Aladdin on 3, for example, because I did talk about how Floodborns for 3, like a 3-cost Floodborn, sounds really broken and probably shouldn't exist, but it was only really because there were cards like this that would exploit the fact that you get an additional effect off playing a Floodborn character so early on. And then not only that, they've altered the Squeak ability, what used to be Whenever you play a Floodborne character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Now the ability is, whenever you play a Floodborne character, if you used Shift to play them, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So this matters because you can't just raw play out an Aladdin. You actually have to shift the Aladdin, like the 3-cost Aladdin, I think it's called Brave Rescuer, in order to get the ability for Bucky to trigger. So this, kills the Bucky discard deck, because how many shift targets do you actually play in that? You play Diablo 1-drop that you would sometimes shift the 3-cost Diablo onto in order to trigger the Bucky, but nothing else is shifting, right? Your Aladdin on 3 isn't shifting, your Jafar on 4 isn't, neither is your Flynn Rider on 4, neither is your Beast or your I guess your Robin Hood shifts, but yeah, so it's Robin Hood and Diablo so far. Your Beast won't shift, and then if you play Tinkerbell, it also does not shift, right? So only 2 of your Floodborns out of, I don't know how many, 6+ Floodborns that you play don't shift, right? And as a result of that, your opponent won't be discarding very much. So this effectively, in my opinion, kills the Bucky discard deck completely, which is a good thing. And actually, I'm super hyped because I actually think the better version of discard is Amber Emerald. But that's a topic for a different video. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to make this video for you guys to be aware of this happening. I'm sure there's been a lot of other content creators making videos about this, and if you haven't seen the news already on like Twitter or Reddit or wherever news is posted, pretty interesting development in the game, I guess. But what's even more interesting is the fact that they are acknowledging that they do need to do this. Errata and bans moving forward will be planned to be effective at the hobby launch of the next set. So to me, this signals things like a whole new world is probably going to get limited and or banned. Probably not errated. But yeah, these cards that you can really tell, right? Like cards that you really build decks around. Like Steel Song is built around a whole new world. Sapphire Steel, the whole new world version at least, is built around a whole new world, right? Bucky Discard is built around Bucky. It's called Bucky Discard. So these cards that are very, very powerful when used correctly kind of give good players a really big edge. Bucky Discard when used correctly, a whole new world when used correctly. I don't think Be Prepared is necessarily super broken, but that is another card that could be on the chopping block just because it does seem like I have to play around this card. It limits my experience to a certain degree. I'd rather just be able to play my cards out without having to worry about everything being demolished. But at the same time, you need some counterplay. Anyways, I don't want to ramble on. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Shimmering Skies coming August 9th, and the Bucky errata coming along with it. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Thank you again for watching. Quantum is out.